Today in our 2007 GMC Sierra Classic Crew Cab, we will be looking at the TorkLift custom frame-mounted camper tie downs for the front, part number TLC2211. These will secure your drop-in pickup campers, so you don't have to worry about them rolling around or tipping out of the bed while you maneuver around corners, and they will keep them nice and secure for safe travels down the road. As you can see, this arm gives us plenty of maneuverability up and down while it's inserted. So depending on how true whatever you're trying to secure to your camper, your drop-in camper, you have some play there to adjust as needed. The bolts that will secure the drop-in camper is also slotted, so you have more adjustment room there as well. It's pretty much 11 inches straight to the bottom of it. At the lowest point of the frame, it's about the same. So realistically, our ground clearance really didn't change any at all. Now the arms have 2 slots, depending on the size of the camper that you have in the back of the pickup. More than likely, you'll probably be using the one that's closest to the base on most applications. They're real easy to install and just slide it in. Take the included pin and clip, insert the pin, and secure the clip like so. Ground clearance, the lowest point is about 9.5 inches. From the bottom of the rocker panel here, it's about 7 inches. Now let's take the arm out to the second position. Ground clearance looks to be about 8 inches. From the same point on the rocker panel, we've added about 11 inches to the vehicle. First thing we want to do is take one of our 1.5-inch bolts here, one of our thin nylon lock nuts, and we'll thread it on for 3 of those bolts actually. We'll want to run the nylon lock nut about 3/4 of the way down. The instructions say to run it halfway down, but we've already installed this bracket on the driver's side of our vehicle and found out that it needs to be more like 3/4 of the way down to actually get installed properly. Then we can adjust it from there. We'll thread one in here, get it to start, and we'll run it down until it starts to poke out the back. Do the same thing for the other 2 bolts. I'll thread them into the other welded nuts on the bracket. You may find it slightly difficult to get these to start because the brackets appear to have been powder coated after the nuts were welded on. On the front of the rear leaf spring, there's a stud that sticks through here. It's an 11mm, and then there's a 15/16 nut that holds it in place. You may want to soak it down with some penetrating oil first, because more than likely it's going to be rusted in place and a little difficult to move. Okay, so using our 15/16 wrench and our 12mm wrench, we'll hold the stud in place and we'll start to remove our nut. You'll definitely want to make sure you hold the stud in place, otherwise you could risk pulling it all the way out, in which case that would happen, the leaf spring would shoot up into the top of the vehicle, and you would have a very difficult time putting it back in place. Now we'll take our bracket, slide it into position, like so. Take the large included flat washer, slide it over the stud, and install the new large nut. Now we can snug our nut down a little bit, still leaving it slightly loose so we can adjust the final position of our bracket. Now using 2 3/4-inch wrenches, we'll start by backing these bolts out until they contact the frame where the body mount goes to, and we'll drive it further out and it'll center our bracket, making it level. If our bolts backed out all the way, making contact with our cab mount on our frame, we can hold the bolt itself in place with one 3/4 inch wrench and grab another one, and we'll back our nylon lock nuts back to the bracket to lock the bolts into position. Okay. Now we can run in this bolt here on the top all the way. With our bracket centered and the lock nuts and bolts secure against the frame, we can finish securely tightening our large nut that goes to the leaf spring. Now with the large nut that secures our bracket to the leaf spring tight, and that completes the look at the TorkLift custom frame mounted camper tie downs for the front, part number TLC 2211 on our 2007 GMC Sierra Classic crew cab.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.